The moment that changed everything happened on a quiet Sunday afternoon. I was sitting at my parents' dining table, the same one I grew up doing homework at, when my brother casually said, "I used some of your money. I'll pay it back." I didn't understand at first. I laughed, thinking it was a joke. Then I saw my mother's face. Calm. Prepared. He had taken money from the account I built over 10 years. Money meant for my future. He didn't ask. He didn't warn me. He just took it. My heart started pounding. I looked at my mom, waiting for her to react. She sighed like I was the problem and said the sentence that still rings in my ears. Be understanding. He needed help. The room went quiet. No one defended me. My brother stared at the table. My father said nothing. I felt small. Not angry yet, just shocked. Like the floor had dropped under me. I realized then that this wasn't just about money. It was about how easy it was for them to dismiss me. That was the moment injustice became personal. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just sat there, frozen, trying to understand how my hard work became optional in their eyes. My brother finally looked up and said, "You're doing fine. You'll recover." That hurt more than the theft. I had worked 2 jobs while he bounced from one idea to another. I saved every dollar. I skipped vacations. I planned my life carefully. Yet I was the one expected to sacrifice. My mom kept talking, explaining how family helps family. Her voice was soft, almost practiced. It sounded like she had already decided my pain was acceptable. I wanted to scream, but something inside me went quiet instead. I nodded. I said, "Okay." They looked relieved. On the drive home, my hand shook on the steering wheel. I replayed the scene over and over. Every word. Every silence. That was when I realized something important. They thought my calm meant weakness. They were wrong. That night, I couldn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling, thinking about all the times I had been understanding. Understanding when my brother missed deadlines. Understanding when he borrowed things and never returned them. Understanding when my parents defended him instead of holding him responsible. I finally saw the pattern clearly. Being understanding had cost me respect. The next morning, I checked my accounts again. The money was really gone. My chest tightened, but I didn't panic. I opened a notebook and started writing. Dates, amounts, messages, everything. I could remember. I wasn't planning revenge. Not yet. I was planning clarity. For the first time, I stopped reacting and started observing. My brother kept spending. New clothes. New phone. My mom praised him for getting back on his feet. No one asked how I was doing. That hurt, but it also freed me. If I was invisible, I could move quietly. Weeks passed. My family acted like nothing happened. My mom called to chat, avoiding the subject completely. My brother texted jokes like we were fine. I stayed polite, distant. Inside, something shifted. I stopped sharing details about my life. I stopped explaining myself. I met with a financial advisor. Nothing dramatic, just information. I learned my rights. I learned my options. Everything I did was legal, calm, careful. I didn't want chaos. I wanted balance. The advisor said something that stayed with me. People who rush rarely win. That became my rule. I kept working. I took extra projects. I built new skills. Meanwhile, my brother started a small business using borrowed money. Family money. My money. Everyone praised his courage. No one noticed who was really paying the price. I watched everything unfold from a distance. One night, my mom called and asked if I could lend my brother more money. I felt a strange calm wash over me. I said, "No." Silence filled the phone line. She sounded shocked, like I broke an unspoken rule. She reminded me how much he was struggling. She explained that family sticks together through hard times. I replied simply, "I already helped." She accused me of holding a grudge. Her voice got higher, more desperate. I didn't argue. I simply said, "I'm setting boundaries." That word made her angry. Really angry. After the call, I realized something powerful. Saying no felt better than any argument I had ever won. My brother's business started growing fast. Too fast. I noticed things didn't add up. Big promises. No details. Vague explanations when anyone asked questions. I kept watching quietly from the sidelines. Months later, my brother invited everyone to celebrate his success. A big dinner at an expensive restaurant. Loud praise from relatives. I went, though part of me wanted to stay home. My mom hugged him like he was a hero. She introduced him proudly to everyone there, talking about his vision and determination. When someone asked how he started, he smiled confidently and said, "I took a risk." I almost laughed out loud. He never mentioned where the money came from. He never acknowledged the foundation I unwillingly provided. I sat quietly at the end of the table, noticing how confident he had become. How careless with his words. That night, I realized something important about human nature. Arrogance makes people sloppy, and sloppy people leave trails that eventually lead back to them. I didn't need to do anything except wait and watch. I started getting emails at work about a new opportunity, a leadership role tied to financial oversight and compliance. I applied carefully. I didn't tell my family anything about it. The interview process was long and detailed. They asked hard questions about ethics, responsibility, and handling difficult situations. They liked that I was careful, organized, honest about limitations. I got the job 2 weeks later. Suddenly, I had insight into systems and regulations my brother depended on for his growing business. I still didn't interfere directly. I just understood more than I did before. Knowledge is power, but only if you know when to wait. I kept learning. I kept watching. I kept building my own foundation while his grew shakier. The difference was becoming clearer every day. My brother started missing payments to vendors. Small ones at first, then bigger accounts. Vendors complained quietly at industry events. Word spreads fast in small business circles. My mom blamed bad luck and unfair treatment whenever someone mentioned concerns. I saw the signs clearly now. The pattern was forming. At work, I followed every rule carefully. I documented everything properly. I learned what red flags looked like in business operations. My brother never imagined I'd be in a position to understand his world. He never thought I'd be watching, not him directly, but the patterns he created. The walls were closing in slowly, and he didn't notice because he was too busy celebrating. Success makes some people humble. It made him blind. One evening, my mom called crying. My brother was stressed about unexpected problems. She asked me to talk to him, to give him advice. I did, calmly and honestly. I suggested he get professional help, a real business consultant, someone who could review his finances properly. He laughed it off, saying he knew what he was doing. That laugh was full of pride and dismissal. That laugh sealed his fate, because the one thing worse than making mistakes is refusing help when it's offered genuinely. I tried. I could tell my mom that truthfully later. I tried to help him avoid what was coming, and he refused. An audit began at my brother's business. Not because of me, but because of irregularities that others finally noticed. My brother panicked immediately. His confidence disappeared overnight. My mom called me daily, asking questions I couldn't answer for her. Questions about legal processes, about timelines, about what would happen next. For the first time in years, she sounded genuinely unsure. She wanted me to fix things somehow, to make calls, to use connections. I explained calmly that these processes have rules, that interfering would make things worse. She didn't want to hear that. She wanted the old me, the understanding one who always bent. But that version of me was gone, replaced by someone who knew their worth. The audit grew bigger. More eyes examining records, more questions being asked, more rules being applied. My brother blamed everyone except himself. The accountant, the partner who left early, the economy, bad timing, never his own choices. My mom asked me repeatedly why I wasn't helping more, why I wasn't defending him to people. I said calmly, I am helping, by not interfering with the process. She didn't understand yet. She thought I was being cruel, but intervention would have made everything worse. would have implicated me too. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is let someone face consequences. That's when real change becomes possible. My brother needed to fall. Fully. Completely. Only then could he maybe learn. The business collapsed. Slowly at first, then all at once. Publicly and messily. People asked questions on social media. Former partners shared their stories. My brother lost business relationships he thought were solid. People stopped returning his calls. My mom stopped calling me every day. The silence felt strange. I focused on my own work, my own growth. I got a promotion based on merit. On the careful way I handled sensitive situations. Life moved forward for me while theirs seemed frozen in crisis. I didn't celebrate their pain. But I didn't rush to fix it either. Balance. Finally. One afternoon months later, my mom showed up at my door unannounced. She looked tired. Smaller somehow, like the situation had physically shrunk her. She apologized, but it felt rushed. Incomplete. She said she understood now why I was upset. That she should have handled things differently back then. But then quickly, too quickly, she transitioned to asking for help. She wanted me to fix things. To loan money. To co-sign something. To use my improving reputation to help rebuild his. I listened to everything without interrupting. Then I said quietly, I was understanding once. You didn't protect me then. She cried. Real tears this time. I didn't feel happy watching her cry. But I did feel free. My mom tried to argue that family forgives. That we move forward together. I agreed about forgiveness. But I explained that forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting boundaries. That I could forgive and still protect myself. She didn't like that answer. She wanted the package deal, forgiveness plus, immediate restoration plus financial help. I offered only the first part. She left disappointed. And I felt the weight of her expectations finally lift off my shoulders. For years, I carried what she wanted me to be. Now I was only carrying myself. The difference was incredible. I slept better that night than I had in years. My brother lost everything over the following months. His reputation in business circles. Support from extended family who finally heard the full story. His confidence. Not because of me directly. Because of himself. His choices. His refusal to be accountable. The consequences he always avoided finally caught up. I heard through relatives that he moved back home with my parents. That he was starting over completely. Part of me felt sad for him. The part that remembered us as kids. But the adult in me knew this was necessary. Some people only learn through loss. I hope he was finally learning. Family gatherings stopped happening. The big holiday dinners. The birthday parties. Silence replaced the noise that used to fill my parents' house. I focused completely on my own life for the first time. I traveled. I invested in hobbies. I built friendships outside my family circle. Peace felt strange at first, but increasingly good. I realized how much energy I'd spent managing their drama, absorbing their problems. Now that energy went toward building something real. My career continued growing. My savings rebuilt faster than I expected. Without the constant drain, I actually thrived. Months turned into a year. Then more. My career grew significantly. I received recognition for projects I led. Industry awards for ethical practices. I stood taller in meetings. Spoke with confidence I never had before. I trusted myself again, maybe for the first time ever. The person I became surprised me. Stronger. Clearer. Happier. My parents heard about my success through relatives. My mom sent a brief congratulations text. I thanked her politely. But I didn't invite them back into my daily life. Some doors, once closed, should stay that way. My mom tried to reconnect more publicly after my success became obvious. She posted old photos of us on social media with captions about being proud. Friends asked if we'd reconciled. I kept my boundaries firmly but quietly. I didn't make public statements or dramatic posts. I simply maintained distance while being polite in necessary interactions. People eventually understood without me explaining. Real boundaries don't need constant defense. They just exist, consistent and clear. People in my extended family began seeing the truth over time. Quietly, without me saying much. They noticed who showed up consistently, who kept promises, who built something real. They noticed who made excuses and who took responsibility. Naturally, perspectives shifted. My brother's version of events stopped being automatically believed. My silence had been more powerful than any argument. Truth doesn't need volume. It just needs time. My brother reached out directly after 2 years. He apologized in a long message. It was detailed, specific, different from before. He acknowledged what he took, what he cost me, how he benefited while I suffered. He said he understood if I never wanted contact again. It was too late to restore what we had, but I accepted his apology without reopening doors. I responded briefly, thanking him for the acknowledgement. Then I continued with my separate life. Forgiveness doesn't require relationship. That distinction matters. I learned that forgiveness didn't mean giving access to my life again. That lesson mattered more than anything. You can forgive someone and still choose distance. You can wish someone well from far away. You can release anger without inviting someone back into your space. These truths freed me completely. My therapist helped me understand that protecting myself wasn't cruelty. It was wisdom earned through pain. I stopped feeling guilty about my boundaries. They weren't punishment. They were protection. For both of us, really. I bought my own home 3 years after everything fell apart. A small place, but completely mine. Built from clean money and clean choices. Every piece of furniture I chose carefully. Every paint color reflected who I actually was, not who my family expected me to be. My parents weren't invited to the housewarming. That felt right. Close friends came instead. People who knew my whole story and respected my journey. We laughed. We celebrated. We looked forward. No one mentioned what I'd lost, only what I'd built. That night, in my own space, I felt completely whole. My mom watched my life from a distance through social media and relatives. I heard she talked about me sometimes, with regret in her voice. Friends said she looked older now, tired. I felt compassion but not responsibility for her feelings. She made choices. I made mine. Both of us lived with the results. I didn't gloat about my success or her regret. I just lived authentically, finally free from the weight of their expectations. Regret was written on her face in photos relatives shared. But some lessons come too late to change outcomes. I realized over time that justice doesn't shout or rush. It waits patiently for truth to surface. It trusts that consequences will find their way to the right people. I didn't need revenge because life provided balance naturally. My brother faced his choices. My parents faced theirs. I faced mine. Everyone got exactly what their actions earned. That's not cruelty. That's just how things work when you stop interfering. The universe has better accounting than we realize. Today, years later, I'm not angry anymore. I'm whole in ways I never was before. My family lost everything by choosing arrogance and favoritism, by dismissing me when it mattered. I gained everything by choosing myself, by setting boundaries, by building carefully. Sometimes people ask if I regret losing my family. I tell them honestly, I didn't lose family. I found myself.